All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the focus group, and today being the 21st of April, the year is 2023. But director, I can still hear the intro running from the background. If that can be checked before we continue, then we come back to you live again. Ndani ya studio kama kawa tuko na Mwita Thuku. Anapenda sana kuniita bwana Sadakta, lakini leo sijui ataniita bwana nani. Mr. Thuku.
Yes sir.
Karibu sana kwenye show.
Asante sana.
Sijui uko na yepi. Naona jana ulisema the weekend is long.
The weekend is very long. It is very surprising sababu most of the people including me hatukuwa tunajua ni holiday.
Si watu wengi sana walikuwa wamejua, manake unless uko na connection kwa wale ndugu wetu ambao ni waamini ambao pia vile wanafanya sala zao katika dini ya Kiislamu, ndipo ungeweza kujua. Lakini kama hauna connection karibu na mtu kama mimi, haungeweza kujua. Being a very long weekend, I remember somebody once say that pata pesa utajua Saturday si siku ya kuosha nguo.
Unajua mostly ukiuliza watu wengi what they look forward to for holidays. Niko na nguo sijafua for 2 weeks.
Sijafua manguo for 2 weeks now we are looking forward for to the long weekend tuweze kufua manguo. To relax. Lakini tuliambiwa pata pesa boss.
Ujue weekend si ya kufua.
Utajua weekend si siku ya kufua manguo.
Kuna watu wanazijua vizuri. Nasikiaga pale Maina Kageni akisema welcome the weekend. Wasikia akiongea mambo ya Nanyuki, mambo ya Naivasha, mambo ya wapi.
Sasa huwa anasema mambo ya kwenda kuchukua matatu yako ya kwenda Ndenderu.
Na nguo zinakungoja huko za 3 weeks.
Pata pesa utajua kwamba weekendi sio siku ya kuosha manguo. Sio siku ya kuosha manguo.
Yes.
And I think by now we are streaming live well. There was a little of a hiccup, but I think imerekebishwa.
Okay.
Once again, welcome to the focus group. Nilikuwa nasema leo ni tarehe gani ile 21st of April, the year is 2023. Follow us, leave a comment, subscribe, and please share so that whoever is not watching us live, whoever is not watching during the production can always have a chance of getting to know what discussions we had. On Facebook is Thuku Mwita Thuku and Sharon Paul SP, and tukika pale katika mtandao wa YouTube unatupata katika handles at Thuku Mwita Thuku and Sharon Paul Media. Karibuni sana tuweze kupiga gumzo kidogo tu, maana tunajua leo ni holiday imeanza, watu wameanza kufuturu, wanasema ni kufuturu. Hii holiday ni gani kwanza?
Hii holiday ni ile Waislamu wafuta kufungua wakiona the moon.
Eid al-Fitr ama?
Hiyo.
Umepata mwaliko wote? Ama una connection?
Sina connection. Sasa tumemaliza kufua. Nimeosha vyombo. Na sasa tuko hapa leo. Tukasema tukuje tusumbue wa Kenya kidogo.
Tuambie yale yaliomo. Unajua we always say that the bits you missed, if you didn't get it on your social media handles or the mainstream media, you can always be sure to find it here ndani ya the focus group.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Mwita.
Yes sir.
Tunaongea kuhusu Clout documentary. Mwenyeitwa Clout chasing documentaries. Ndani hapo pia hatukuiandika vizuri sana, lakini tutafanya editing. Clout chasing documentaries. We've had very, very serious documentaries that are also shared on our social media handles and as well from the mainstream media. And we get to realize that most of these, or a few of these documentaries, if are well scrutinized, you'll find that either one, yes, it is a true documentary, or two, it's something that is just happening from the scripts. And trying to scrutinize one that we were actually going through the other day, yesterday, and a bit of it today, we realized that the participant in one of these documentaries that we're watching has very many questions to ask.
Yes.
You can introduce this documentary and we can have a little glimpse into what it was really talking about. And from there, we can equally come back home and have a few that we've always watched and try to analyze and see the documentaries that we always watch. Are they real documentaries, or it is about clout chasing, or just trying to make a name out of a production?
Mr. Sharon, thank you very much for inviting me here to this focus group. Now,
Karibu.
watching this documentary called The Gold Mafias.
Yeah, The Gold Mafias. It's one of the biggest documentaries currently going on from
Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera.
Yes.
Yeah.
A documentary that took a lot of money, I suppose. A lot of work. You can see the graphics in it. It's good work.
Even the places this documentary was shot.
Exactly. But then again, if you look at these things, and I think this is a mistake that is happening because they are trying to catch up with the current trends. Mainstream media is slowly washing off.
It is it's a deathbed.
Yes.
If you say so.
If you say so, not me. And I think they're trying to spice things up just to keep it rolling and to keep it interesting. That's why you see in most of the news that we watch nowadays, there's a lot of soap operas in those news. News is not what it used to be. Kitambo. There is no research in it. It is sijui who slept with who, sijui what went what,
who was found with who.
Exactly.
Yeah, such things. Let me just cut you short a little. Such things, they say, the things that bring Kenyans together, the things that unite Kenyans. We don't want to mention names.
Yeah.
We are still young to be short.
Now there's one politician who brought Kenyans together this week.
Yeah, and people have really... So people have had optical nutrition.
Exactly.
And it's a story for another day. Let us focus on this.
So now, I was looking at this documentary, The Gold Mafias. It is a very nice piece. And I think there is some truth to it. It's only that the angle that they approached, they tried to spice things for viewership. They say the truth, it normally doesn't capture much.
Gossip does.
Yeah, gossip does. And I think if you look at how, like I told you, like the analysis we did earlier, if you look at how these, I do not know if to call them victims or criminals, I don't know the words to use there. If you look at one of them, that is Mr. Kamlesh Pachi, and the other guy who says he's second in the gold business in Africa, it is not like a documentary. This is not investigative. This is someone answering questions. This is someone giving an interview. If you look at the topics he's giving, if you look at
how he's
addressing. If you look at the room that is Kamlesh is at, the lighting, it's like a studio. You get
it is a whole production.
It is a whole production.
Meaning these people were the people of interest.
Yes.
And now we have Kamlesh Patil there, and then this other guy, I didn't quite capture his name.
Yeah, I didn't also.
Yeah, and when I'm bringing back to the point that you bring on board. When you look at how Kamlesh Patni is, the room that he is, and even the setting, the setup, and how he's sitting. Right. If it's an investigative documentary that is being brought on board, the kind of setup even for the cameras that we see from the production doesn't really bring out the undercover bit of it, because we can see very clearly the way you said, when you are here we have very bright,
yes,
very bright lights,
una shine kushine kama sufuria,
naambiwa kila siku nimejipaka mafuta mingi. So it brings the issue that actually we're talking about, clout chasing documentaries. What was Al Jazeera trying to achieve? What was the objective of doing this documentary? Were they trying to get Africans and the entire world to know what is really happening behind the gold mines and the gold business, or it was just something that maybe a production house, the media house, or even the investigative journalists who are doing it, trying to create a name out of it? Maybe you can pick it from where you are proceeding.
You see, gold normally is one product that is used to transfer currency for trade. Uh-huh. Gold is something you cannot track. Uh-huh. So if you're going to move money from Kenya to the UK, uh-huh, gold is one of the currencies that is best for fraud, for evading taxes and such things. Uh-huh. So if you want to move money untracked from one position to the other, then gold is the currency to do that. Uh-huh. And Mr. Patney, during the early years of the Moise administration,
in the 80s,
he introduced, that is the early 90s and the late 80s, he introduced a scheme that was a business, a very good business, through his company, the Goldenberg International. It wasn't fraud by then. It was a very legitimate business, but he himself had his own agendas in between it. And the intelligence boss back then, and the president, that is His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi, had their own motives
as well.
And Kamlesh is a financial genius. He knew exactly where to hit and how to modify the whole process to benefit them.
He was one of the biggest beneficiaries.
Yes.
Under the Goldenberg.
Him and Moi.
Yeah, under the Goldenberg scam.
Exactly. So now it gives a story of how Kamlesh started this enterprise. And once he was crippled in Kenya, he moved his enterprise to now the mining areas, that is Zimbabwe.
Yeah, and this was after it said for you to do business with the government, you must be very close and you must have links. Exactly. After the defeat of the KANU era in 2002, Kamlesh alijipata mashakani. He went down to Zimbabwe.
Yes.
He even converted, called himself Paul Kamlesh Patney.
Yes.
To
brother.
Yeah, brother Paul.
He started a church, Pale Zome. Is it Garden City? Garden Estate. People used to get paid for attend the church. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
That is one of the many ways of washing money. Kamlesh is a genius. And I'm saying if these ideas he brought into light, though I'm sure most of the politicians right now wouldn't want to touch the issue because it's been tampered with too much. Yeah,
and it's still a very fresh wound. The Goldenberg scam. I think it's one of the scams that led to one of the biggest commission of inquiries.
They almost inflated this country to zero.
Yeah.
They almost made the shilling to be devalued. You understand?
Yeah.
You saw what Uhuru did wasn't devaluing of the shilling. Him introducing another note. That is dead currency. Devaluing of the shilling would be like what happened to Zimbabwe. And now Kamlesh, when he settled base in Zimbabwe, he found a very nice field for him to do his business.
They were still, for lack of a better word, they were still naive, and they needed somebody like Kamlesh Patney to help them.
Yes, you see,
up.
when Mugabe did what it did to the whites. US placed sanctions in Zimbabwe. So basically, Zimbabwe could not trade with the dollar. So they did not have any other way of bringing product or trading with the outside world.
Yeah, especially the West.
Yes. So now, Zimbabwe was using its banks didn't have enough money to buy gold from its locals. So it was using money launderers like Kamlesh to buy gold and go use it elsewhere, then bring dollars back to the country. No, this was the perfect way. They actually gave Kamlesh a license to do that legally.
A legal license to wash.
Exactly.
Yeah, to wash currency.
Yes. You see, they had gold, they needed gold out of the country, and they needed money back into this country. But now the federal government did not have money to buy gold from its locals. So what it did, it used people like Kamlesh to take gold from this country, take it elsewhere. They are definitely going to be paid in dollars, then bring those dollars back into home. This country. So now the country can use the dollars to trade with other countries. This was, it's like taking a dog to a meat field. Kuipeleka mahali kumechinjwa KMC unaiambia tumekupatia license kula, enda kula, then go take a shit somewhere else. We need that shit to fertilize our field. You get? Enda kula, eat as much as you can, so you can come fertilize our field,
our shambas,
so we can cultivate. That is what happened with Kamlesh. Now, if you look at these documentaries, it is very, very rare, Bona Sharon, for you to see someone who's being investigated without their knowledge, given the amount of information Kamlesh and the other guy was giving to Al Jazeera. You could even hear the other guy telling Al Jazeera over how he's second in this business because after somebody because there's another Kenyan Indian guy who's the first one. Bona Sharon, let me ask you this. This is someone who knows he's trading on illegality. He's doing something illegal, and he knows that for sure. How do you even market someone else, you leaving the space? So I'm telling you, this other person who's better than me. Hata mimi nikikaa hapa siwezi sema kuna station mzuri kunishinda.
What tunasema, this is the Focus Group, your number one
online talk show in Kenya.
In East and Central Africa.
Yes. Ukiangalia hapo hata hakuna mtu ana watch.
Tuko na 6 viewers, tunaendelea.
Tutaambia watu we are the number one talk show in this country.
But now for this guy to come and say that I am number 2.
Yes.
There's somebody ahead of me. An Indian Kenyan nationality.
He's trying to clock to lock a deal, but he's marketing someone else. Ati kuna mtu mwingine mzuri kunishinda. So makes me wonder, is this guy really getting paid to make this documentary? Ama he's doing it without his knowledge? Because I'm sure if he was doing it without his knowledge, and he's a client, one of the biggest clients he's about to lock, he should be telling them, I'm the number one in this business. These are two rivalries. This guy and Kamlesh are rivals. So he should be marketing himself more than he's marketing the other guy. So how do you go telling people there's someone else better than you and you're looking for the job? Do you expect them to work with you when you've already told them there's someone else better than you?
And I think that's the reason why you brought the topic like clout chasing documentaries. Because if these people, yes, they are undercover journalists, undercover investigative journalists, and they have posted themselves as clients to these people. I come to that I want to buy one of the top ranges vehicles in Kenya. And then you tell me, I do this business, but there's another car bazaar along Gong Road that sells even better vehicles than me.
Yes.
By the virtue of volunteering some kind of information is a very clear picture that there's something that is happening. Either I'm scripted to say this, or I am being paid to be part of an interview, washing down the credibility and the authenticity of this kind of investigative series. And you see, Patni is very cunning. When he was in Kenya, I was seeing that he was saying...
he's a genius.
He's a genius. At the age of 24,
yes,
he was in a shop, I don't know buying what, and he met...
the intelligence, the head of intelligence.
The head of intelligence.
Yeah.
Meeting the head of intelligence, but cannot be just something that is that coincidental.
No, that is something he had planned.
Yeah, and then you talk to him, and then he takes you to the most powerful man on land.
Yeah.
Jamal Ishika,
there were so many. There are so many missing items we are missing around there.
Yeah, and you see, just before you proceed, Kamlesh is very keen on who he grabs first when he gets into a country. Alianza na Moi. When he went to Zimbabwe, he had some very nice and smooth operation to get a hold of the former late president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, before he passed. When he went down south, he did the same. He even crowned Muammar Colonel Gaddafi as the king
but you know,
of Africa.
Do you know him crowning Muammar Gaddafi? Mm-hmm. Kenya actually built Kamlesh. Kenya appointed Kamlesh the ambassador for peace or something. That is how he got power. Kenya empowered Kamlesh. Kamlesh might have been a genius, but the rope that gave him the reach was Kenya. The Kenyan government gave him all that reach for him to reach all these other people.
To proceed with this coming.
Exactly.
But I think there were beneficiaries. There were beneficiaries.
Yeah, there were beneficiaries. But now he was too cunning to even extend. We do not know if he had shareholders or he was doing it in other countries. Maybe this country was empowering him to go elsewhere and set up shop because now his shop here was compromised. We do not know that. If you look at that documentary, the same stories that Kamlesh is giving, it is the same story the other guy is giving. They are giving these people a whole life experience of how they started the enterprise up until where they are. Now I'm thinking, if you look at how the Akashas were caught, you remember the Akasha brothers?
Yeah, I can remember. They were interdicted in the US.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extradited to the US.
Okay. Kiswahili in English. Message is home.
Message is home.
Yeah.
You remember how the FBI investigators documented the whole thing. They had these cameras and the Kenyan investigators also. Did you see how that was?
Excuse me.
You saw how that was when they went to the apartment. How they went. They said they can get more products and all that. The Akashas were very careful not to give information they were not supposed to give. But if you look at Kamlesh and the other guy on this particular point, they are giving their life history. This is an interview going on. This is not an investigative documentary. And this is a documentary going on.
Yeah, because I can see Kamlesh Patni starting by saying he was born and raised in Kenya. At the age of 24, he met the head of intelligence who took him
asked you.
I mean, this is a business transaction we should be having. For me to get all that kind of information giving to you as my business partner, I mean, I don't really care where you came from, but I am here for this product. I have this amount. Let's transact our business. And if the same thing with the other guy.
If you look at the thieves here, now I'm trying to take a scenario here. The shallowest thieves of them all, wale wa kuvunja nyumba in Kenya. So you're here trying to give a job to wale wezi wa kuiba kuku. And here is a thief is somewhere giving you now his resume. Mimi nilizaliwa pale Kibera, kazi yangu ni hii. Mimi nilizaliwa mwaka wa 1990, nikaenda shule mama Kibera primary, nikaenda high school Homa Bay. Nikatoka hapo
Mbona natumia mabei?
At the age of 24, nikaenda nikapatana na mwizi sugu sana. Akani recruit.
Sasa ndio mimi.
Akaniambia tuibe kuku ya kwanza, tuibe kuku ya pili. Even the dumbest of the thieves are wise enough to know not to give their stories to someone who's trying to give them a job. You know?
Exactly. Because now, you know, in a situation where you're going to pitch, you know, like currently we've been doing a lot of pitching everywhere we go. We don't even tell people where we met.
Exactly.
We're talking about the focus group.
Yeah.
Inception, growth, and where focus group has reached.
And this is what I can do for you.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we can offer, and this is what maybe we can also demand in return. But now when I want to tell you, mimi nilizaliwa Nyahururu, nikana nikasomea shule ya msingi nilipatiwa suspension expired. Who is going to take you?
Nobody cares.
And this kind of information now brings the question of are we really watching factual documentaries?
Or is it a movie?
Or we are watching movies, or we are watching, for lack of a better word, how you placed it, clout chasing.
Exactly.
You've said the mainstream media, there are challenges actually currently. Not any other business is doing well. Even the mainstream media is not doing well. But is this a way to grasp and capture our attention so that we can continue being glued to the screens? Before we came on air, you equally talked about something that can bring us a little bit back home. Way back in the day, we used to have the Jicho Pevu.
Yes. Look at what Mohammed used
to do.
That was investigative. That is documentary. You could feel. Hii ni kitu ya ukweli. Hii sio movie. Hii sio wana Bruce. Hii ni kitu ya ukweli.
Hii sio Jackie Chan.
There's something else nataka kurudi nyuma kidogo. If you look at how Kamlesh was giving his story, it is a copy paste. The other guy was giving the same. If you look at the numbers Kamlesh was giving, this is how I move. This is how much I move. The other guy was giving the same numbers. I remember when now the money launderer from Dubai came and met these people. He gave numbers the same way the two other guys had gave. You understand? They don't even show us the investigators asking the questions. It is these people giving their story. You get?
And just continue.
If you look at Mohammed, now the member of parliament was doing Jicho Pevu. And by the way, John Allen Namu is wonderful. He's doing the uncensored. He's doing a wonderful job. You can feel the investigation in what he's doing. This is not, unaona watu akina CNN na akina Al Jazeera wamezoea vita Kenya. Sign the election. Kenya is burning. We're here.
The hotbed of terrorism.
We are here. Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. Kenya is burning. People are dying. Now, move from that. Tukiwa na grievances, tunafanya peaceful demonstration, tunaenda Supreme Court. Elections inaanaliwa. Now ile kitu walikuwa wanauza isha. Sasa ni watafute kitu ingine, watafute ukora ingine ya kuuzia watu sasa. Now they've known people are not watching what they are producing out there. Because before walikuwa wanaenda kwa tire moja ikichomeka, camera inaplacewa at a very strategic point.
Kenya, they zoom in.
Yes, Kenya is burning. Now,
na tire moja tu iko.
Iko Kibera. Story. Sasa there is no that. They can see bipartisan talks are being developed. We are taking our arguments in parliament. Zile content walikuwa wanauza huko. Now they are reporters. Akina Larry Madowo. Tulari. He refused to give false information so information can sell there. He's giving proper information that is happening here. Now akina CNN and akina Al Jazeera have nothing
to share.
They have nothing. They, what used to sell in the Western world about Africa was about wildlife. You get? And violence.
Poverty.
And poverty. Now we have no violence. We have no poverty. Whatever poverty is here is also happening in the US. It's also happening in France. It's also happening in Germany. It is happening anywhere, everywhere. We have better systems za mitigate these things.
Yeah, and it's even actually said that Kenya's level in matters to do with democracy is way much better than even most of the Western countries.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention one name. There's this person that was really, I found it so catchy during the entire gold mafia about Zimbabwe. This guy called Hubert Angel.
The prophet.
He says he's the government. There are some deals and transactions that he can do without even getting notification from the president.
Yes.
When he is there, the president is represented.
Yes.
He can sign treaties and do anything without the permission of the president. And for him to have been appointed in that position, because he's saying he's the next immediately after the president. He's not even the deputy of the president.
He helped overthrow the government.
Yeah.
He's one of the most followed pastors in that country.
He has a following.
Yes.
And we always say that when this kind of a following is this huge, there's a lot of blindness.
Exactly.
People, watu wanapelekwa jehanamu bila kujua. It's sad to say the big followings that we always have in these contemporary churches, and unapata prophetess so and pastor so wamekuja pamoja, bibi na bwana wamekuja pamoja, wamefungua kanisa. There's so much to be done. Yeah. Kagame alifunga makanisa mingi sana.
Yeah.
Alisema kama una stakabadhi za kuonyesha kwamba umehitimu, enda nyumbani.
Ile side ingine. It's very good that you brought the issues of Albert. And first of all, kudos to this guy. If this was a very legit documentary, then that guy is the most excellent salesman I've ever seen anywhere. That guy is a salesman. It's either he's a salesman or a very good actor. Jamaa anafaa
apatiwe accolade.
Anafaa kwa Hollywood. Jamaa anafaa kwa Hollywood ama Nollywood.
Alisema is the most powerful person after
the guy
president.
If you listen at how he's talking in these things
with authority
and convincing you, this is what I'm going to do for you. That guy, no wonder he's a pastor. No wonder he can preach and convince people this is what.
And he told Zimbabweans there are no need for elections because this person is going to be the president for life till he dies.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't know that he also participated in overthrowing the former Zimbabwean president Robert Mugabe.
You see, people say South Africa had a lot to do with it. I do not know. That is not statistics I have.
Yeah, we should indulge in that.
Yes, but. People are not fed up with Mugabe. The current president is more out of good behavior from what Mugabe was. You see, Mugabe was a patriot but had a lot of hatred in him. And that is why I told you earlier, I'm quite very disturbed if our administration right now is going to drag the hatred they have for the previous administration to this administration, because it's going to do more damage than good. You see, Mugabe was a very good president. I will say that without fear. What he had was anger
with the Western.
With the Western. And that anger led to him destroying the country.
Yeah, it costed them a lot.
It costed them a lot because the sanctions costed them a lot. Zimbabwe cannot trade with anyone. They have to bring in thugs like Patni to provide them with money, with currency to trade.
And you see, at some time back, we used to make fun of Zimbabwe that ukipata mtu anaenda kununua mkate kwa duka bwana anasukuma pesa na wheelbarrow kununua tu mkate moja. Yeah, even the Zimbabwean dollar, I think it's not doing well.
It's not doing well simply because they have no money to trade with the outside world.
Do you think Emmerson Mnangagwa is going to, this is the current president of Zimbabwe, is he going to bring back the glory of Zimbabwe?
Which glory? Have you seen the documentary?
Yeah, this is so much implicated.
This is the person empowering money laundering in that country. This is the person who's using a prophet. And by the way, there's something else I want us to tackle on that. The Hubert gives some predictions of how a certain game in Europe is going to happen.
We are
coming back to that. this president is giving people B for boy and S for sample information. He's appointing a diplomat who's seen on this documentary. If it's not a sham, it's a sham either way. It's either this guy knows he's being filmed by these people, or this guy doesn't know he's being filmed. Either way, it's a loss for the presidency in Zimbabwe. You get? It's a lose-lose for them. There's no win-win here. Either this thing was scripted, then it means the prophet, who's second in command in that country, knows exactly what is happening in this documentary and is giving some shambolic information, misleading people of what is happening in Zimbabwe. You get? And the president is very much aware of it. Ama it is very honest that this documentary is legit and whatever is happening in Zimbabwe is being empowered by the president and his second, who's this prophet now. So it's a loss for these people.
And there were some talks that it was being mentioned that the documentary is not real.
Yeah. They said that everybody in that, there's even disclaimers put after the documentary that every other participant aliruka na akasema either the events did not happen ama either what did not happen. Maybe they took someone, wakamweka plastic surgery, wakamfanya all these people, we do not know.
Wakamweka Kamlesh Patni, wakamweka huyu, the other gold business guy.
Yes. What I'm saying is, the events in the documentary are real. These are very factual facts. But it happens that the people documenting did not have the materials to go with. So it's either they approached Akina Patni and told them, hey, Patni is a businessman.
Yeah.
We've approached with the right amount. He will do the documentary. Then Ataruka, there's nowhere you're going to take him. And I'm thinking the mistakes he did in Kenya, then the Statue of Liberty, Isham protects. There's a threshold on after how long you can go after a guy for the crimes committed. So I think he knows there's a threshold for that, and his has expired already.
Yeah, because the first time that the Goldenberg scam was being brought to limelight, the full-blown limelight was in 1992.
Yes.
And it really smeared very many people, even our third in command.
Yes.
Currently.
Kila mtu alikuwa ndani yake. Kila mtu alikuwa ndani yake. He was Minister for Finance back then. Yes.
So I think from whatever we see, from the very many documentaries that we always see shared on the social media platforms, on the mainstream media, we can always have a give or take kind of consumption. You see, they could be real, or some could be, just like you put it, cloud chasing, or trying to grasp and maintain that kind of viewership for these media houses. Now it's deep, and we haven't even finished it. I think we're still on the first episode. Talking about now coming a little bit home. There was this it was a guns expose by one of our leading media houses as well in Kenya, and even the former. Was it the DCI boss or was it the IG Bwana Kinoti?
Yes.
Came very bold and screaming loud, denouncing this kind of affair, saying hawa polisi ambao mnaonyeshwa hapo, hatuna polisi yote kama huyo.
Hata hizo bunduki
sizo zetu. Now, when we try to look at this and then now bring it to what we'd always seen before, to somebody like Moha with the Jicho Pevu.
Yes.
You can give a comparison.
You see, like I said, mainstream is slowly dying. And the kind of personality we saw during the Moha's time, these are people willing to go the extra mile. You can see what Alenamu is doing. He's doing some amazing work. And he's independent. Now, when you see the mainstream media is trying to compete with that, then they find it very, very hard to compete with that. And people would rather go to an independent person like us, who they are going to pay less and provide the same service mainstream media will provide. and they're charging way more. You get?
Yes.
So you'll find that the information they're giving is correct. It's just that they do not want to go the extra mile of collecting the correct data. You understand?
Hawataki kukata kiwanja.
Hawataki kukata kiwanja.
And this is our area of specialization.
Kupiga nyundo.
Wanapiga nyundo kwa news.
Kwa news. Wanapiga nyundo kupiga nyundo. You get? In school you're told research is no easy work.
It's never easy.
It's no easy work.
Yeah.
You understand?
Collecting credible, factual and truthful data
is no easy work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, these people do not want to spend that much money. You get?
And they want to bring the facts on the table.
So they have a story here that they know the theory about, I'm around about it, but they do not want to go the correct channels to collect the data. You understand? Allen Namu and Moha used to take months collecting those data.
Around they could even go for 6 months or even a year.
6 months, even a year. They they did the actual work, came up with perfect reports. You understand? And then they brought it, and then they went to hiding when they went to. You get?
Yeah, you know, some were really stepping on toes.
Exactly. Kama ile airport.
Ile
ilikuwa mchezo.
Ile airport na ile when we lost our two interior
Akina Saitoti.
Saitoti.
Did you watch that? Did you watch the videos in that? That was some real investigative work.
They travel all the way to South Africa.
You could not even see some of the faces in that. Lakini someone would argue that the cameras now are more perfect than then. Kuna kitu kama hiyo. Sema mulikuwa kwa studio, mulikuwa na lights inside, lights nyuma. Kulikuwa na zinaitwa nini?
The microphones.
The microphones. The sound in the Kamlesh. Wajua kuna kitu inanifurahisha. During the interview with Kamlesh, you could see mpaka ile kamera ya huku kando na watu
because you know if it were those hidden cameras, they're always on the buttons on the spectacle lenses or something, and they always rove a lot because kama ni mimi nimevaa hiyo spec iko na hiyo camera, unajua I won't be staring at you like even for more than 5 minutes without twitching kidogo. Lazima nipeleke kichwa hivi kando, nirudi hivi, lakini ile iko still ni kama hii kamera yangu. Ile Kamlesh amemwambia wewe angalia hapa in 2-3 we are going live. Start.
Kitu ingine inanishangaza ni you see when Kamlesh was showing them the pictures of the president he's interacted with. Hizo pictures tunaletewa kwa kwa screen. This person was scrolling hata tu kuona kamera yenye ilienda kuangalia kwa simu ya Kamlesh. You get? It is quite disappointing. The turn media houses have resorted into. We saw the other day when the shirtless guy went to the
maandamano yake
not maandamano, what do you call it, Radio Africa in the morning show. We saw the amount of influencers that were there trying to create all these clouds to, I think mainstream media, they are losing the whole point. Mainstream media should do their research. You see what now the online shows are giving is a quick fix. You understand? We here are going to analyze this thing. It is not news. We are only analyzing what have been given by the mainstream media.
Yeah, because it's already out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Already consumed.
We do not have the resources to go gathering that information. So we still need the mainstream media. So it means the mainstream media is not going obsolete anytime soon. It is only that they do not want to invest in their stories.
And to research.
They do not want to invest in that. Research costs money. I remember in one of the trainings we were, sijui kama unaweza kumbuka. And one of the trainers said, research is the most expensive thing you'll ever go through in any field, whether it is market, whether it is social, you have to invest in it. And that is what you're looking for something.
Yeah, no, I was actually looking at my camera, and what I'm having here, I was seeing some a dark lighting behind me, but it's the wall.
You have 3 phones, so they're giving you different reflections.
Yeah, and angles.
And angles.
Okay. We'll continue with a bit of expensive research.
They normally say being a Lou is very expensive.
Easy is a studio.
Being alone is expensive.
I'm telling you, it's a struggle.
So now,
you're a bit of the research being expensive.
Yes,
yeah, this one training. Yeah,
research is quite expensive. And if you do not want to invest in it, then you're going to give a lot of BS, let me say. Yeah. You're going to give a lot of nonsensical information.
Yeah, they say garbage in, garbage out. When you don't invest in it.
Yes. You're going to give a lot of bullshit. Because, Sharon, if you have the idea, the gun issue that one of the media houses in Kenya exposed. It is a reality. It happens. You understand?
Yeah.
And the person who was going to produce that story, to release that story to the public, the editor or whatever they are called, knew this thing was going to have some blows after they released. Yeah. I mean, this is the government you're trying to expose. What did you expect?
And to make it worse, the security bit of it.
You understand? So you should have had facts. Unaona kama ile ale Namu and Moha, hakuna mtu jichopevu, hakuna mtu alikuwa anabishana nayo. Because the facts into this thing was so deep, you did not need.
Unaona tu unasema hapa nimeshikwa.
Una get?
Tunaomba msamaha.
Hivyo tunaomba tu msamaha. Watu walikuwa wanasimamishwa kazi. Ile ya Kenya Ports watu walisimamishwa kazi because the government haiko na way of protecting themselves because these people covered every angle. They knew how to cover every angle. Lakini sasa ukiangalia ingine ya bunduki. Vitu ingine ambako unashinda. Even the DCI, I remember there was a time he laughed and said, there are some guns there the government does not use. These are pet guns that are used. They are custom guns that the government does not use. So to you yourself, why not invest? Try to do some research. Those petty indiscretions, you find a way around them. Hata kama unataka kupiga nyundo, Buddha, we know how to piga nyundo, but in a smart way. You look at the patterns.
You must get to see how the patterns are running before you now start getting your own version of it. And now, since we're still home about the clout chasing documentaries, way back in the day, we had one that was done by a leading journalist in Kenya. He's doing an absolutely wonderful job. Ladies love his voice, and good things are happening around him.
Yes.
There was a documentary that was shot about the Delta rebels. That was in Nigeria. By that time, I think the rebels and the Nigerian government hawakuonana jicho kwa jicho, macho kwa macho.
Yes.
And I know they were fighting about being in control of the oil that
the
was
field.
The oil field that was making some people very rich. By that time, these rebels were unapproachable and reachable. But one of the leading journalists, by that time he was in one of the leading international media houses, gave us a story.
Yes.
What will you say about this? Actually, let us it's just that we didn't prepare this, but I have a picture of him where he was deep ndani ya the rebels territory. They're surrounded, and these people have ile mzuka ile inaitwa aje ile ya kuachilia makombora.
Hiyo DJ Afro tu ndio anaweza kuambia. Hiyo sisi hatujui. Ama Connect ndio consumer wa vitu za DJ Afro. Huyo anaweza tuambia venye inaitago.
These people have very crude and powerful weapons that not even the official government do have.
You see, Bona Sharon,
yes.
First of all, I'm going to commend Mr. Jeff for doing that piece. That was a very wonderful piece. And say secondly, there is no way doing such work involves money. There's no way Bwana Jeff would have gotten his own money from his own pocket to go shoot that thing. I believe the media house facilitated for that process. And I'm sure they were not going to give him, because I'm sure it costed a lot of money. It costed a lot of money. There's no way they are going to facilitate him, knowing very well whatever he was doing was shambolic. They knew exactly. I learned that name the other day. I have to use it a couple of times.
Repeat. It was
shambolic. So now, I'm sure they knew what he was doing. It's only that maybe the story got sweeter and they saw the story was selling. Now the bit whereby now the Nigerian government got to ask a lot of questions. That is when now the media house knew they needed to sacrifice one person from here. And the Kenyan young man who was there was the best to sacrifice.
The hammer fell on him.
Budo ukinituma Turkana niende nikakave na unipatie pesa mzuri. And then tell me you're going to finance me to panel beat some corners. I'm definitely going to do it.
Exactly.
Hii ni kazi. Mimi nilikuja kufanya kazi, sikuja kupatiana story mimi.
Na umelipwa.
You see, in the Delta, not even the Delta, even elsewhere when you have people doing these kind of things, they say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. You understand? So in the Delta, they have their own narrative they gave. And the government of Nigeria had their own narrative they gave. Now, Jeff, the depth he went with this story. You can see some of the pictures he posted. Meaning he was somewhere. Then if this is a movie he was acting, it costed a lot of money to even hire those carboosters.
Carboosters
LPG sijui 100 and what. To hire those things.
It's a DJ Afro.
Yes. And to hire some of the vehicles he was traveling in, some of the areas they went in. Then if it was a movie he was acted, it's a movie that costed a hefty amount of money.
Billions of US dollars.
You understand? So this money had to come from somewhere. There's someone who was signing out on these monies. Mr. Sharon, let me ask you things. When we were in research, ukinipeleka na huku sijui mahali kunaitwa nini, you had a lot of money with you, sindio? For facilitation.
Exactly.
If we were going to panel beat, sindio? From here to Turkana, from here to Pokot when you were in Pokot, let me ask you something. Would you have left Nairobi without someone signing off on the finances?
No. Money has to be pumped.
Someone needed to sign off on those money,
exactly,
and someone needed to know whatever money was being used where and for what purpose. Because there is no way the company is going to give you money without them having accountability for that money. Yes, sikatai. Umetoka hapo umeenda kupiga nyundo. Then someone needs to have known umeenda kupiga nyundo. Hii kazi imeshindikana, lakini lazima client akuwe delivered for. So someone needed to know kazi imeshindikana, tushalipwa. Something needs to be done.
Data has to be brought.
That data needs to be brought.
Lazima pia nyoshe GPS imeshika
huko
West Pokot.
So someone needed to sign off for that money. So someone signed off for that money. It was just that someone was sacrificed. Someone who was in the field doing the piece was sacrificed. And this is exactly what I'm saying, Bwana Jeff. Hey, Bwana Sharon. Jeff, shambolic of me.
Shambolic of you.
So this is what I'm saying.
If you call me Jeff, I just say it's smoking in here.
Yes. So this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, whether it was panel beating, whether it was the truth, Jeff did a very nice piece. He did one of the best pieces and he needed an award for that. He did a very nice piece. The only thing that happened is these mainstream media people are running out of content. And they're trying to fix issues. They're trying to fix stories where there are none. They're not doing their proper investigations. You understand? And that is why you're finding things are going wrong left, right, and center. If you look at that gold mafia, you can tell this is a scripted. This is a movie. Any movie tunapatiwa.
And I want to tell people that if you haven't watched the latest investigative series, You get to YouTube, look for Al Jazeera as a handle, and you'll get a very good production done there by, he's called Phil Rees. It was first aired on 23rd of March this year.
Kama hujalipia Netflix, na zenye tu zinakuletea hapo ni
DJ Afro.
Ingia pale, search Mafias. I'm telling you, you're going to have your night well performed movie. Iko pale. It is a very expensive, a very nice movie. Star ako hapo ni Mkenya. Kuna Indian Kenyan. Kuna star mwingine hapo. Kuna mama stero wako hapo.
Kuna mwingine kutoka Zimbabwe.
I'm not sure why this thing is not Afro akifikiria. Afro akifikiria kitu.
It's hardly a month out, so it will reach the necessary people.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you haven't got a glimpse of what we're trying to talk about, get yourself time, go on YouTube and try and watch The Gold Mafia. Just get to understand the gist behind how the investigative series was done, and if this truly depicts what the mainstream media or any other person who is doing an investigative series has to do. Was this entirely scripted? Is it true? Is it factual? And how well can we really authenticate that whatever we are being fed are factual and truthful from especially an international media house like this. Continue following us on our YouTube channel, that is at Mwita Thuku Mwita.
Ed Sharon Paul SP.
Ulikuwa umesha log out.
Kuna kitu ingine bana Sharon before we head out. Now, this kitu ya football. Kwani ni movie tunaonaga? Unajua hiyo pia inaweza kuwa DJ Afro kwa na kazi hapo na hatujui. Because this pastor Mr. Wilbert
anajita Hubert Angel.
Yes. In the documentary they say that he gave a lot of predictions for these games. One thing I know for sure, that salesman called Mr. Prophet, there's no way he's a prophet that can predict anything. That one thing I know, I'm not judging, and my apologies for that if I'm charging, but this is what I'm saying, not charging. Hey, judging.
I understand where you come from. Umesikia nikiongea?
Pana. Pole. Now, if the games he gave us was DJ Afro production, then it leaves the question, wewe mwenye unaekelea kwa muindi, unaekelea movie ama ni kitu ya kweli? You know, maybe these debating sites already know what is the outcome. Maybe wakiangalia hii pande imeegemewa sana, then you're bound to lose, my friend. Muindi anakucheza. So
that's why they always say there are football fixtures.
Yes.
Yeah. Maana saa zingine wanaingia uwanjani, I'm not a football fan or a commentator or a specialist in analyzing football, but wanasema saa zingine by the time football is going live washajua ni nani anaenda kuwins. I think these are issues that somebody like Wakili Odegina na Don, manake I know they support two different teams na wao wanagongana sana, can come here and help us understand in depth what really happens. Saa zile mtu anaenda kwa VAR, saa zile mtu amekulwa red card, yellow card. Yeah, so for this Hubert Angel to predict a game, and he was live on a mainstream media, national television, I think, of Zimbabwe, saying this. Give us our parting shots as we wind.
Pole sana kwa wale wote wanaonaga mpira. I'm very sorry.
Usifanye football fans waanze kutupiga hapa bwana.
I'm very sorry. The 90 minutes movie very soon. DJ Afro atakuwa kiingilia. Itakuwa pale Netflix. Yes.
Do you know we are going to pass through town going home, man?
Hey, that's my parting shot.
Wherever you are, wherever you're watching us from, continue giving us the support, and our social media platforms are always the Facebook and YouTube. Find us on YouTube at Sharon Paul Media and Thuku Mwita Thuku, and on Facebook it is Thuku Mwita Thuku and Sharon Paul SP. Leave a comment, please subscribe, follow us, share, and help us make the focus group grow into something big that you will be part of it who made it to grow into whatever it should be. Today is a holiday. We can let you continue enjoying wherever you are. Enjoy responsibly. It's a long weekend. Check on your finances. Kwa wale ambao wako nao, si tukitoka hapa nadhani tunaenda kunywa uji pale tuende nyumbani, lakini
na uambia wachunge vidole huku, they still need to work on Monday. Usifue nguo sana.
Usifue nguo sana. Tunaambiwa pata pesa ujue weekend si ya kufua nguo.
Weekend ya kufua nguo. Na weekend ya double black.
Kuna weekend ya kufua nguo na weekend ya double black. So we chagua. Till next week, it's goodbye from us, and thank you for always keeping it the Focus Group. Mr. Mwita.
Yes.
Chamwisho.
And now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ
and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen. Enjoy responsibly. See you next week.